Now, we've all seen the big deal that has been the meeting between Trump and Justin Trudeau, and this mostly applies to my Canadian viewers. And I thought it was really interesting that during the whole meeting, essentially Donald Trump was being rude. You know, he's being his usual self to Justin Trudeau. But what was particularly interesting to me was the way Fox News tried to spin it. Fox News claimed that Justin Trudeau was being rude to him, was being submissive, is saying one thing to his face and then completely reneging on it and doing something else behind his back. But what's really interesting is that that's what Donald Trump does. Now, I'm no fan of Justin Trudeau. I wouldn't vote liberal. I don't like liberalism, etc. But it's very interesting the way Fox News tries to twist all of these things. So he's calling like Justin Trudeau like a backstabber or someone who goes back on their deals. He stopped short of saying Indian giver. But it's really interesting that that's what Donald Trump has done. He's the one who's broken agreements. There was a NAFTA agreement in place. This is how trade's going to work. You can import this, this, and this. We'll export this, this, and this. There'll be tariffs of this degree, or there won't be any. In other words, a big deal, a whole deal that was set up that was supposed to last for a particular amount of time, and which would eventually be rewritten when it expired. But Trump didn't do that. He just unilaterally pulled it out, scrapped the whole thing, insulted all the other members of it, and then turned around and called Justin Trudeau the person who was the deal breaker. It's just, it's ridiculous to me, like how bad Fox News is, like how dishonest. And I'm saying this as a Canadian, not as an American, and it reminds me why we banned Fox News from this country. It's just so interesting to see the Trump side. How they'll believe anything. Like you could tell them Trump invented penicillin and they would probably believe you. Fox News could twist it that way and the Trump people would actually believe it. They actually think Trump brought the jobs back. They think Trump has actually argued for a better deal with trade around the world, when that hasn't happened. In fact, he's probably destroyed long-standing relationships with his attitude and the general way that he behaves. Far from being this ideal, deal maker, he's actually been the deal breaker. Promises he's gone back on North Korea, which I'm assuming they're going to go back on with the new ones that have probably just been made. The way he's pulled out of the JCPOA and just decided to make it invalid and demand that a new one be rewritten. He's the deal breaker, not the deal maker. And I just wanted to make this video to just talk about how utterly brainwashed the Trump people are. Like, this guy could just do nothing wrong. He can do the opposite of everything he says, and the Trump people will still believe that he did it. I mean, it's amazing. You can lie to them about anything when it has to do with Trump, and they will believe it. It just blows my mind, and I frankly just wanted to get that off my chest. It's insane to me how bad this really is. And what's really scary is that we're seeing a lot of this same thing with the election of Doug Ford to Premier of Ontario. And as a person in Ontario who's going to have to put up with him, that does bother me. Now, I saw a lot of parallels between his campaign and Donald Trump's campaign. Massive lying. They ran the progressive conservatives ran such a negative campaign. It was absolutely ridiculous. They dumped so much garbage on Kathleen Wynne, stuff that wasn't even her fault, stuff that was Dalton McGuinty's fault, stuff that was started with the previous conservatives who ran the country, the ones who privatized electricity in Ontario and told us how, oh yeah, we're going to have lower rates because it's a private business now. And, when we have it, when it's a private business, there's less bureaucracy and everything's going to be cheaper. And then our rates went way up. And now they're blaming the high rates on privatized energy on the Liberal Party when they didn't have anything to do with that. It was actually the privatization that did it. I mean, it's absolutely, it's ridiculous. And we see that same kind of Trump fan mentality where, like, anything Doug Ford says, no matter how much of a lying scumbag he actually is, they will believe it. His family is possibly the most politically crooked family that this country has ever seen. Rob Ford, his brother, who was mayor of Toronto, was so crooked, Toronto City Council took his powers away. They took away the powers of the mayor because he was so crooked. Their family, the Ford family, is so tied up in drug dealing, it's ridiculous. It's utterly insane. Never mind anything about Renata Ford, Rob Ford's wife, who's now suing Doug Ford. Forget all that. I'm talking about what the family has done in business and their long connections to organized crime. They are like the most corrupt political family in Canadian history. And they won with a majority. You know, there's an old saying, people get the government they deserve. If they want to vote for this kind of guy as premier, that's what they're going to get. But I thought that it was so interesting that Doug Ford talked about how much he was a fan of Donald Trump and said how, like Donald Trump, he's going to bring the jobs back. Correct me if I'm wrong, but are we not on the verge of losing a hell of a lot of steel jobs because Trump has decided to put 25% tariffs on them? And it's interesting how that little piece of information, that little piece of fact, never quite made it in the media. He never quite had to answer for that. But you know as they say, as I just previously said, people get the government that they deserve, and this is the one that they voted for. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.